What is up? Coach Emma here, and welcome back to the Fit Habit Life podcast, where we cut through the noise, talk real health and fitness, sustainable fat loss, and habits that actually work. And today, I'm going to be talking about a spicy topic: cortisol. Is cortisol making you fat? But before I dig in, just wanted to thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. And if you like the show, if you could rate the show on wherever you're listening to, subscribe and share it, that will help me get in front of more people and help me cut through a lot of the BS people are hearing to help people do health and fitness the right way. So anyway, as you guys can tell, I'm at home now, not in the car. And so unfortunately, Fit Habit Joe is not with us today, recording. Well, he's with us. He's in another room, but he won't be on the podcast today. But given the topics we talked about with him, stress in general and how it can impact your body, your health, I thought it would be a very fitting topic to talk about. There's a lot of crap on social media that says cortisol is making you fat. You have cortisol belly. Cortisol's the enemy. Yada, yada, yada. So I'm gonna tell it to you straight and debunk those myths so you can learn how cortisol can actually impact your fat loss, what cortisol actually is, and how to manage it properly. Okay, I kind of didn't put those in the right order. But first, what even is cortisol? Cortisol is your stress hormone. Cortisol is adrenaline. It's that hormone in your body that gives you energy. Kind of puts you in that fight or flight state. So if you've ever fasted before, and you get that kind of like focused feeling, that's what you're getting it from. Evolutionarily, right, when we're fasting, we didn't have grocery stores, refrigerators, kitchens. We needed to hunt and get food. So it makes sense that when you're fasting, right, your stress is higher, your alertness is higher, you feel sharp. You feel energized. But that always ended with either, well, you being eaten or you eating. Hopefully, obviously, the latter. And so, essentially, cortisol is very important. It's that alert feeling, and it helps a lot of other processes in the body too. Cortisol itself is actually anti-inflammatory. But the problem is constant elevation of cortisol can downregulate your body's production of it, because it's like, yo, I don't have any more to give. And it can fatigue your body and make your body incapable of actually utilizing it when it's necessary. So another example is like if you get injured, you might feel really sharp and alert, and that's cortisol working. Kind of fight or flight response, right? So cortisol basically is stress. And it can be elevated from a lot of different things. Fasting's an example, injuries another example, chronic undereating, not getting enough sleep, having a lot of external stress from life, work, relationships. A lot of those things can elevate it. But Cortisol itself does not make you fat. It doesn't. As I stated, it's an anti-inflammatory kind of hormone. But consistent elevation of cortisol can cause a whole slew of other problems that can contribute to an unhealthy body composition. So, does cortisol make you fat? No. Can cortisol and stress in general contribute to an unhealthy body composition? Yes. Because at the end of the day, to lose body fat or put on body fat, your body burns. So if you're putting on body fat or you aren't losing body fat, that means your body is either burning less calories than you're consuming every day, or it's maintaining. So it's burning the same amount that you're consuming. And it's very common that people who have chronically dieted for a very long time, tried every diet under the sun, their body's in a very stressed state. They probably have some form of adrenal fatigue, and the adrenals are part of your body that produce cortisol. The adrenals themselves aren't fatigued. Your brain's like, yeah, we're just not doing that anymore. And part of it is if you're not consuming enough calories for your body to function optimally, it's going to downregulate other processes in the body. It's going to make you move less. It's going to make you fidget less. It'll make you more tired, so you're less likely to be active and walk around. And so that's one way consistent levels of stress can contribute to an unhealthy body composition, is it makes you less likely to be active, and your body will adapt to those lower caloric intake so that it can maintain the weight you have on your frame. And so that's it, essentially chronic stress, chronic levels of cortisol, constant undereating can contribute to metabolic adaptation, which is what I was talking about, which is your body naturally doing less to conserve energy. Additionally, something else that happens, people in a high stress state, oftentimes people with an unhealthy body composition don't have very good healthy coping mechanisms. And so oftentimes food is a tool people like to use to cope with stress. So they might, skip lunch, skip breakfast, and then they're starving, and then they're really hungry and something happened and they're like, oh man, I just need to eat something. And so they'll eat like a big piece of cake or a bag of chips or whatnot. So it's, and stress can make it harder for you to do the things you need to do as well. Like if you're super overwhelmed getting to the gym, especially if you're not used to going to the gym and being consistent, that's probably the last thing on your mind. If you're constantly stressed, you're in a fight or flight state. And so you're probably just worried about work, about your family, about other priorities. Because when you start a health and fitness journey, health and fitness probably doesn't naturally come to mind first. It's probably the other priorities. So, as I said, if you're in a fight or flight state, then stress, a stressed fight or flight state, you're not thinking about how much protein am I eating with my breakfast? Do I have time to get in a workout? No, you're probably like, I don't have any time to get in a workout. Like, screw that. Like, I need to do this thing for work, like ASAP, right? So stress in and of itself does impact your metabolism, and stress in and of itself impacts your habits, and it impacts your decision making. So, as I said, if health and fitness to you is a new thing and you have to consciously think about it, if you're constantly in a fight or flight state, you're not spending the time thinking about it. You're not setting aside time to plan your meals. You're just doing what is normal to you. And what's normal to you is why you're in the position you're in now. And if you're in a fight or flight state and you're like stressed all the time, you don't have time, you don't think you have time, of course you're not monitoring your calorie intake. Of course you're not making sure that you're getting in your steps or you're walking or those sort of things. Those sort of things don't come top of mind to you. So you let them slide and you prioritize the other things that you tend to prioritize, whether that be family, work, other life things. So basically, TLDR, cortisol itself does not make you fat. But stress, chronic stress, can cause metabolic adaptations and contributes to less optimal decision making, which contributes to either overconsumption or continued consumption of higher calorie diet, maybe making poor sleeping choices, which add to the chronic stress. Maybe, skipping meals. Maybe it's eating a big piece of cake. So, anyway, stress is very important when it comes to sustainable fat loss, but not because stress in and of itself makes you fat. It's the adaptations it can cause. The chronic stress can cause metabolic adaptations, and then it's the behaviors that are associated with a stress state that are the main issue. So how can you manage your stress to get better results, to get out of your own way, and to make sure your metabolism is functioning optimally? So step 1, if you're in a fight or flight state, you need to either take a break from whatever is causing you stress. Like if it's work, take a holiday, take a day off, and spend that day planning out, look, here's where I'm at now, and here's where I want to be. What does that person do? And outline the habits that person has. Because most people know what they should be doing. That's not the hard part. The hard part is implementing it and knowing how to implement it in a way that is sustainable. So step 1, take a break, give yourself time, pencil it in your calendar, right? And map out those habits, and then pick one of those habits that person has, and identify the habits that you have that are quote unquote like self-destructive. They're not serving you right now, and try to swap it with that good habit or attach it to another habit you have. So like a great example would be if every morning you wake up, you have a cup of coffee, maybe you pair that coffee with protein, whether that be yogurt, protein shake, maybe some eggs. That way it's a little bit easier to do that than instead of trying to overhaul your whole life, right? Just one small change a week. And giving yourself that time will allow your body to relax, and it'll help you get out of that fight or flight state. Additionally, it is super important. Most of the people that I coach, most of the people that listen to this are more of the go-getter type A high achievers. And so we tend to put, work first, right? All or nothing mindset. you need to put you first. You need to take the time every day. Maybe it's only 10 minutes a day you have for yourself right now. But pencil that in your calendar and take those 10 minutes. Take those 10 minutes to go on a walk, to meditate, to maybe you do a couple exercises at home to get started. Maybe it's taking that 10 minutes to pack your lunch and have breakfast before you head off to a long day of work. But you need to give yourself time for yourself. Because if you don't do that, you will never achieve the results that you want. If you cannot prioritize yourself and time for yourself, you will never lose the weight and keep it off. So, basically, start small. Give yourself a break and give yourself some time to identify what are the habits that are holding me back. What are the habits that future version of myself who's healthier and fitter has? And how can I make swaps or small changes into my day without having to overhaul my whole life so it can be sustainable? And give yourself some me time every day, whether that be 5 minutes, an hour, maybe it's just a 10-minute walk after work. But you deserve to have time for yourself. And if you're not giving yourself time, you won't be as capable at work. You won't be as good a parent, father, kid, coworker, employee, business owner. You won't be able to serve people as well as you could if you were taking time for yourself. So, anyway, that's the gist. So cortisol does not make you fat, but stress can contribute to metabolic adaptation and can cause you to gravitate towards unhealthy behaviors that are keeping you stuck. So, hopefully this resonated with you. If it did, please rate my podcast wherever you're listening to it. Like my show, share it with a friend or family member who needs to hear it, because I just really want to help people. And so the more people you share it with, the more people this can help and the more people it can get in front of. So anyway, thank you for listening today. And if this is something you're struggling with and you're ready to make a change and you want some additional guidance, there's a link in the show notes, in my caption. I'm used to social media. There's a link in the show notes for you to book a complimentary consultation. And in there, we'll just have a conversation about, hey, this is where you're at now. These are the things that you will need to do to get to whatever your goal is, whether that be fat loss, improved gut health, improved hormone profile, helping manage autoimmune condition symptoms, just optimizing your health. I'll give you a frank conversation about what you need to do to get there and what it would look like working with me if you're interested. So anyway, thank you for listening. And on that note, I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.